Despite a 20-point effort by Zach LaVine in the first half of this game, the Chicago Bulls just get outworked in the game against the Milwaukee Bucks. What's next from the Bucks, and also some more bad injury updates for the Chicago Bulls team? We're going to talk about it all and more, but for what we got to do first, we got to play that intro.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And let's go ahead and get into this loss by the Chicago Bulls. This was a disappointing loss, not because the team lost the game. It's how they lost the game. This team came out flat, very, very flat. And maybe the number of games over the period of time that the Bulls played got them down. Maybe missing Patrick Williams and needing to give more defensive effort to kind of, overcome the absence of Patrick Williams defensively, which, say what you will about Patrick Williams offensively, defensively, he's been the Bulls' probably best player so far this season. The Bulls just looked like absolute garbage throughout most of this game. And it's unfortunate because you get the performance that you get with 20 points in the second half of this game. Now, Zach LaVine does only finish with 27 points, but he did all the lifting for this team in the first half of this game. I'm not even going to knock Zach LaVine for not being able to keep up the effort that he gave up in the first half, because it was really just him. And then Tori Craig gave some effort as well, right? With his 15 points, stepping in for the injured Patrick Williams. Dalen Terry scores 10 points. He gives some good defensive minutes for the Bulls. But outside of that, I don't care what the stat sheet says about how well a player shot, what a player did on 3-point. I don't care about any of that. When you watch this team, this was a team that collectively felt like it quit 2 quarters into this game. That's what this felt like in this loss by the Chicago Bulls. And Vooch, Vooch has been Vooch. It is what it is. Josh Giddey's defense was atrocious today. There are many times on the broadcast today where Doris Burke called out Josh Giddey's effort multiple times. And it's a little bit different when it's a national analyst that doesn't call games for your team every day, because they don't hold any back, right? It's not to say that necessarily Stacey King and Adam Amin hold anything back per se, but it's just different when you get somebody who's like, I have no attachment to this team. I'm not going to call another Chicago Bulls game for however. I don't know when the Bulls play on ESPN again, but even when they do, it's a chance that Doris Burke, he's even the one calling that game. The Bulls have one more game on ESPN, and that's January 17th against the Charlotte Hornets. When you listen to the way that they are absolutely flabbergasted at Josh Giddey's non-desire to play defense, it's laughable, really. But Josh Giddey wasn't the only one, right? I know a lot of Bulls fans are going to make this all about what they did for Josh Giddey or whatever. Like, the defense in today's game, outside of Dalen Terry, outside of Tori Craig in some possessions, this was a terrible defensive game from everybody. It was a terrible defensive game from everybody involved for the Chicago Bulls team. It just was. The defensive effort today was piss poor. It was depressing, and it was just downright disrespectful. The Bulls gave up 54 points in the paint. They gave 40 points off the bench. They allowed the Milwaukee Bucks to get to the free throw line 31 times. And so while the Bulls got called for 23 personal fouls in this game, 23 personal fouls compared to only 13 for the Milwaukee Bucks, it's just evident that the Bulls just played sloppy on both sides of the ball. They played sloppy defensively. They played uninspired offensively. And everything that this team did tonight was just outrightly ugly. It was ugly. Shay says, honestly, I'm not saying we can win 40 games or nothing like that. But hey, all this stuff is happening still in November, so let it play out. Yeah, but things look this bad. Like teams that usually turn it around after the month of November don't look this bad, right? Even in the Bulls wins, it's not like they look like they were some amazing team that just has barely scratched the surface, at least not in my opinion. This is an ugly team. Adrian says, we're in serious trouble with this front office. We're reaching another level of low that the GarPax era, even with the secret extension, Acme will have 1 year left to just cut the cord. No, I don't think they're in serious, because I think that this may be by design. The Bulls may be this bad this year because that was the plan on how they can keep their pick. It may be, right? And maybe I'm just giving them a little bit of credit there, right? You may disagree with me, but we can't always look for Nikola Vucevic to have a rebound game as one player, because this is, who said that? Who said anything about that? I don't know what anybody's what you're talking about there, Shay. You're making points just to make them. This game, when you look at how easy it was for the Milwaukee Bucks to just do whatever they wanted tonight. And yeah, I get it. Giannis is Giannis. 41 points from Giannis Antetokounmpo, almost a triple-double, 8 assists, 9 rebounds in this game, 1 steal, only 1 turnover, 21 points from Brook Lopez, 20 points from Dame Lillard, 18 points from AJ Green. The Milwaukee Bucks got anything and everything they possibly wanted today. That's it. And it's just, again, and the thing that I always go back to, right? When me and Pat were still doing this show, and me and Pat literally looked at this team and said, this team would be lucky to win 35 games. And some of you guys argued with us that they could win 40 games. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now, yes, we're 16 games into a 82-game season. There's still a lot of basketball left to be played. But you can say that for so long. Like, you're heading towards the end of November. Right? We're heading into December. And things don't feel like they're tuning up for the Chicago Bulls. If anything, it feels like the Bulls are starting to wind down. Now, we got players out with injury, all those type of things. We'll talk about that here in the second segment overall. But really, when you look at it right now, right, this is supposed to be the easier part of the schedule for the Chicago Bulls. And we really, when you look at the Bulls schedule, like, we've won 3 out of the last 12 games. That's, I'm telling you. And keep in mind, this is supposed to be a little bit of the easier part of the schedule, because it just gets tougher the closer you get to December. And as that, we got in December, just let's look at the first week of December. Got Brooklyn. We already lost to them. San Antonio, that can go either way. Indiana, that's going to be tough. Philly, I don't care what Philly's record is. That's always going to be a tough matchup for the Bulls. 2 games against Boston, another game against Milwaukee, Atlanta, Milwaukee again, Charlotte. It's going to be a tough. If the Bulls can't turn this thing around by the end of December, you might as well start counting your lottery chips. You might as well start counting your lottery chips. And like I said again, that may be the goal of this front office, because if they do trade Zach LaVine and or Nikola Vucevic, you might as well go ahead and book your tickets to the draft, and let's hope that the Bulls are going to get it right in the draft. That's what you might as well do at that point, because it's going to be tough for the Chicago Bulls team, and it just keeps getting harder. And the thing is that this offense that initially looked fun and dynamic just looks like they're trying to hold on for hope at this point. And we're only 16 games into the season. When you look at the difference of the confidence level it looked like this team had in the offense and what they're trying to run versus now, it's a night and day difference. You cannot deny that point or take away from it. It's going to be a rough Chicago Bulls season, and they're proving that more and more every day that goes by. And teams, and I said it coming into this game, it's going to get worse. Teams are going to start getting better. Other teams are getting better, and the Bulls are starting to get worse, and that's going to shape it up for an even uglier season down the stretch for the Chicago Bulls team. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be clear here. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that when this is all said and done, we're looking back on this and we're saying, hey, this Chicago Bulls team turned this thing around. They were able to perform in the way that we need them to do. I hope that all that is said. I hope that all is done. And I hope that's what we end up getting here. But as it stands right now, I'm telling y'all this. This is ugly. And it's getting uglier and uglier every day that goes by for the Chicago Bulls. But we're going to talk about how it did get uglier for the Chicago Bulls. Guaranteed. It got a little bit uglier for them recently with the injury updates of Patrick Williams and Lonzo Ball. But before we get into that, I got to talk to you guys about a message from Game Time. All right, Bulls fans, man, we appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. Game Time is the place to get your tickets for your live events, period. They are the place. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. When you look at it as well, like with these, with the live events that you guys want to go to, Game Time Picks helps you get those deals, and they make the whole process even easier for you. If you toggle on the all-in pricing, this feature shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. So you guys can't complain that you threw fees you didn't know about before you bought the tickets. Game Time curation helps make it easier, saving more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Plus, you can get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you even buy. And Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find seats in the same section and seat for less on another app. Your purchase is guaranteed and covered by the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code that's LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, Bulls fans. So many of you guys probably knew, or have heard by now, that before this game, Billy Donovan provided updates on Patrick Williams and Lonzo Ball. And they're not good. I want to be clear. They're not good. So Billy Donovan did say that it will be through next week, right? Before Lonzo Ball starts ramping up. So that doesn't even necessarily mean that that's going to be when Lonzo Ball returns. That's when he's going to start ramping up. So there's still a nice chance there that we could not see Lonzo Ball even after next week. So when you look at that, that could mean that you're putting him through Thanksgiving, which puts him there at possibly returning that December 2nd date against Brooklyn. And that's if the ramp-up period goes well. Now, this is disheartening. It sucks because Lonzo Ball, we've gotten 3 games out of Lonzo Ball so far in his return season. 3 games so far. So the thing is, when it comes down to it, is that it's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough for this team to really get anything left out of Lonzo. And maybe that's not the expectation, right? Lonzo was going to always be in and out of the he's going to be in here in and out of the rotation for the majority of the season. That just is what it's going to be. He's going to be in and out of the rotation all season. It was expected with him not playing back-to-backs and things like that. But at this point, to get only 3 games from him, 3 games from him, that's tough. It's tough. It's really tough. And so it sucks that Lonzo, and it's not the knee, right? I guess that's the only silver lining you can really pull out of this is the fact that it's not Lonzo Ball's knee. But it still is another setback for a player that his time here with the Chicago Bulls has been nothing but setbacks. That's really what Lonzo Ball, I asked over on Chicago Bulls Central the other day, what will Zach LaVine's legacy be as a Chicago Bull? And of course, that's not something you can necessarily answer right now. It's going to be something over time. But if you look at Lonzo Ball and what his legacy, and you can't even say legacy. He's played 38 total games for the Chicago Bulls after signing a 3-year, $30 million contract. I believe that's what it was. That's what it's been. for Lonzo Ball. I'm sorry, it wasn't a 4-year, $80 million contract. Why am I trying to make it less than what it was? 4-year, $80 million contract, 38 games. And at the best, and I told you guys coming into the season, at best, you're probably looking at Lonzo now with the amount of time that he's missing, maybe playing 40 games this season. So if he does play 40 games this season, that's 75 games out of 4 years with Lonzo Ball. That's what Lonzo's time here at Chicago has been. It's unfortunate, but that's the way that the cookie crumbles for Lonzo Ball. It really sucks that that's what you can get out of somebody who, when he was on the court, was so important for this team and what they did within that first season when he got here. Flaccavelli says even 40 sounds like a stretch. It does, right? I'm just hoping at this point. What Lonzo Ball and the injuries and the setbacks, and like I said, Lonzo was somebody who always heals slowly from injury. And the way that the Bulls communicated this injury as well, I'm just going to be frank with you guys, it sucked. Because, initially they said 10 days, right? And then after the 10 days went by, Billy Donovan came out and said, well, the actual prognosis was 2 to 6 weeks. We just thought that he was going to be able to be back in 10 days. And it looks more and more like that 6 weeks is probably going to be what it's going to take for him to get back. So whatever we get from Lonzo from now to the end of the season is a plus. But then you got to add in as well the update to Patrick Williams. And Patrick is a little bit better, right? So end of the week for Patrick Williams. So he's basically going to miss the rest of this week. And they're hoping that maybe next week he can start doing some things, right? But that's when he's going to be reevaluated. That's not even when he'll be cleared, right? And so even with that said, it could be another amount of time as well. We could be talking about 2 weeks as well before we see Patrick Williams. Overall, the prognosis of what we're going through right now with the Bulls, it's going to be ugly. That's what it's going to be for this team. And Patrick Williams, we saw it tonight, right? Tori Craig did an admirable job stepping up, and we're going to talk a little bit about him towards the end of the show. But overall, when you are already at a deficit defensively, when your roster, we're talking about a Bulls roster, if fully healthy, was going to struggle defensively. When you lose one of your most versatile defensive players in Patrick Williams, you see more of what you saw today. It's going to be rough for this Chicago Bulls team. And every time that we get somebody knocked down, it's going to make it rougher for this Chicago Bulls team. And like I said, maybe for those that want to see the top 10 pick, us maintain that, we're looking really good to be on that this year. Really good to be on that. I came into this season saying that one of the focuses should be development, right? That's what I'm looking at more than anything else is development from this team. From the young players on this team. Kobe, outside of this game, it was bad this game, has really looked to refine. He's turned into one of the better catch and shoot players in the NBA, and that's where we actually had a lot of questions for Kobe and how he was going to grow off ball. He's turned into a really solid catch and shoot player, which is good. It's good for his development. It's good for those things. Julian and Dalen looked really good in this game. He shot the ball well. He took shots confidently. And so the silver lining in all this is that the development may be forced. Now, to Billy Donovan's credit, he's played a lot of the young guys. He's given them a lot of minutes. Manas Busilis to the side of that, that's not been the case for that. But overall, if the goal was development, if the goal was keeping the top 10 pick, if that's what was the most important thing, we are very much so on pace and maybe ahead of schedule, because guess what? We could still move Zach LaVine. We could still move Nikola Vucevic. We could still move Tori Craig. We could still whatever. It can get more ugly for this Bulls team as far as in the win-loss column, which would make it more favorable for the Bulls in the draft lottery. And I hate, before December is even here, us already talking about the Bulls and the draft lottery, because that's the realism of where we are right now. Flaccavelli, it sucks to even say, but if he has another season of less than 60 games, I think he should respectively hang it up. You talking about Lonzo there? I mean, listen, I think at this point, Lonzo's going to keep trying to come back until his body doesn't let him. Is that the right decision or not? That's between him and his doctors. But the Bulls, for the tank commanders out there, things are looking good for the tank. We just got to see how it's going to go as this season continues for the Bulls. But we got to get into a message from another one of our sponsors. This one's from Chime. And on the other side of that, we're going to ask, should Tori Craig be playing a little bit more? We've all hit a point where we realized it was time to make serious money moves. Take control over your finances by using a Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, fee-free overdraft up to $200, or getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Learn more at chime.com. Chime helps you make progress with fee-free overdraft up to $200. Your next deposit is applied to your balance. Get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals, no monthly fees or maintenance fees, and they have over 50,000 fee-free ATMs as well. To date, Chime has spotted members over $3 billion in funds. Friends give friends a boost. Eligible members get complimentary boosts to temporarily increase a friend's spot me limit. When you give a boost, they can boost you back to temporarily raise your limit. How it works: you set up direct deposit in your Chime account. After a qualifying direct deposit of $200 or more, Chime will notify you to enroll in Spot Me. With an activated debit card, Chime will spot you up to $200 when you exceed your balance. Your next direct deposit is applied to your negative balance. Chime never charges fees or interest for using Spot Me. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/NBA. That's chime.com/NBA. Chime feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by Bancorp, NA, or Stride Bank. NA members, FDIC, Spot Me eligibility requirements, and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. All right, Bulls fans, man, let's go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. We got one last topic before we get out of here. Tori Craig played pretty well for the Chicago Bulls today. I think most people, especially for a player that has barely gotten off the bench for the Chicago Bulls, other than in garbage time for the majority of this season, you look at what Tori Craig was able to do here, and the natural question is going to pop up: should Tori Craig be playing more? And make no mistake about it, there are going to be people that also ask, should Tori Craig actually be starting over Patrick Williams? 15 points today on 6 of 10 shooting, 3 of 7 from three-point range, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 1 steal. When you look at this, Tori Craig played 28 minutes today. The highest number of minutes that he played so far this season was 11. That was in Sunday's game against the Houston Rockets. Other than that, it's been 3 minutes, 3 minutes. He's averaging 5.7 minutes so far on the season, and this was only his 4th game played in the season. And here's the question, the answer that I'm going to give to the question. While Patrick Williams is out, yes, Tori Craig should be playing more. You know why he should be playing more? He should be playing more because you can shop him. That's what it is. You should shop him. That's it. Tori, much like with Andre Drummond last year at the trade deadline, a veteran like Tori Craig has the most value to a team that has stars and is looking to gear up and solidify their bench or their rotation leading into the trade deadline. Tori Craig can do that for a team. Tori Craig is historically a player that plays better when he's playing off stars. Yes, at this point, while Patrick Williams is out, Tori Craig should be playing more because you can shop him. And even if you get 1 second-round pick, it's better than letting him expire and walking away for nothing. So no, while I'm not advocating for Tori Craig to stay in the rotation ahead of Julian Phillips, hell, even ahead of Modest Bucilis or ahead of Patrick Williams, at this point, take advantage of a crappy situation and play Tori Craig more to up the trade value, because leading into the trade deadline, you want to be getting as many calls as possible for players like Tori Craig. You just do. And so whatever that value is, if the market on veterans is set at a second-round pick or maybe 2, you want to be able to take advantage of that market as best as you can. You didn't get any second-round picks in the deal back for Alex Caruso. You can try to recoup some second-round picks for a player like Tori Craig, and that's what the Bulls should be doing, in my opinion. No, Tori Craig should not be featured. No, Tori Craig is not a horrible player. He's not. Tori Craig is a solid veteran piece that is going to go about his business and knows what to do and how to contribute to any team, in any role, in any system. And you should be taking advantage of that by trying to shop him at the trade deadline. That's what I think the Bulls should do. Unless you're going to start Julian Phillips, you're going to start Manas Busilis, Tori Craig should be starting, because you have a chance right now to organically help remind teams around the league, hey, you probably need Tori Craig for your championship run. The Denver Nuggets need some strengthening on their bench. Could they come calling? Maybe. It's a possibility. I think that you should be shopping Tori Craig. And this has nothing just to do with the Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic stuff. That's a whole separate situation. But Tori Craig is the type of player for a team that's going younger that you should be shopping, at least in my opinion. But you guys can let me know how you feel on that down below. That's my time for tonight. Make sure you guys are following the show at Locked On Bulls. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. LockedOnBulls@gmail.com. And make sure you guys also are signing up at LockedOnDaily.com for the daily Chicago Bulls newsletter, which I drop every single morning in your inboxes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. Go Bulls. Let's hope that we get a better result in the next game. Peace, y'all.